It is Monday, September 4th, 2023. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well on this Labor Day. That's right. Some shows are taking a day off, not Baseball Today. We are with you just about every day. I think we've missed one day the entire season because of travel issues. That's it, Plouffe. This is what we do.
I didn't even think we missed one day, so that's actually a shock to me. And we're not like bragging. We work so hard. The reason we do the show every day and try not to take days off is because we love to do it. It's a fun show.
That's it. And
yeah, we love our audience.
It was really fun. So usually, just to kind of a little peek behind the curtain, I usually do the questions for Monday after all the afternoon games are done on Sunday. So if something interesting happens Sunday night, okay, I could change things up. And I had to because of two reasons. But the first and biggest reason was because we had the interview of the year. And so we are giving a tip of the cap to our newfound Astros fan who played a huge part in this series because when Yordan Alvarez hit a foul ball, he reached out and he interfered. He Bartmaned it a little bit. And so Yordan was called out. Well, Buster Olney of ESPN went and found this guy, and he gave the interview of a lifetime.
Y'all got to understand, when it's dropping down, it looked like it's coming directly to you. So I reached, and my body went for what I know. But we did have a wonderful moment. The reaction was shock, disgust, happiness, sweat, a little bit of lust, baby. You feel me? I was in there feeling kind of hurt, but my fingers still shaking a little bit. The ball way heavier with the gravity. I'm not going to lie to you.
Dude, I don't know.
Did he say the ball weighs a little heavier with the gravity?
And then he also called them the asteroids. He said the asteroids were great because this was his first game ever. He had just moved to Houston. He wanted to give his son, a memory of a lifetime, and he gave us all a memory of a lifetime.
No, that was incredible. The sheer joy and excitement. And I love that he's trying to be a good dad. That was like one of the first things he said. I'm trying to create memories. So I loved it. And I also want to shout out Buster Olney for having not only the best interview with this guy, but also the worst interview with Phil Nevin earlier in the year. So, Buster's just hitting all the notes.
Hey,
good job,
that
Buster.
Way. Of course, you couldn't get through there without poking.
I had to do something.
That's the reason, by the way, I'm wearing the Royals hat is because the dude was wearing a Royals hat in the clip. So I got to give him a little love somewhere. Biggest series of the year has now come and gone as the Atlanta Braves took 3 of 4. They won Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Dodgers behind Bobby Miller ended up at least salvaging something in that 4-game set. Acuna went deep in each of the first 3 games of the series. Mookie Betts with a pair of multi-hit games and then going 0 for on Friday and Saturday. What was your biggest takeaway from this series?
I think... And we've all kind of known this, but we've danced around it. The Braves are the best team in baseball. They're the best team in baseball. And does that mean they're going to win the World Series? No, it doesn't mean for sure they're going to win the World Series, but they are the most well put together team in this sport right now. And they went into Dodger Stadium, and honestly, they went on their road trip and went 8-2, I believe they on it, and they went into Dodger Stadium and just dominated the series. A 4-game set, winning 3 of 4. Yeah, they got Bobby Miller pitched really well. That's nice for the Dodgers to see that. That gives them a little bit of glimmer of hope in the postseason. But the Braves came in and crushed it. But I thought what was really interesting is a lot of the quotes after the game were exactly what you want to hear from your team if you're a Braves fan. They say, yeah, it's nice to come in here and do this to the Dodgers, but that doesn't mean that we're going to Charlie Morton says that doesn't mean we're going to go and crush them in the postseason. So they have their minds right. They understand, like, look, we're taking care of business, but it's the regular season. They have other goals in mind. They want another ring, and I think they're approaching it the same way. So I think that was the main takeaway is I just think that they are the most well-constructed roster in all of baseball. And go look at the statistics. They're ridiculous. It was a blast to see Acuna and Betts and Freeman and everybody else that's a superstar in that series. There's so many. Michael Harris made a great point because everyone's talking about Acuna's 121 mile an hour homer. He goes, dude, that thing had a 17-degree launch angle on it. It got out of here in a hurry, like almost like a line drive. He goes, imagine if that thing would have had a 27-degree launch angle, how far it would have went. So there's so many awesome things that went on. My boy Staff threw a freaking pill to Kershaw.
Nice work.
So a great overall series, very entertaining. But I think, again, the main takeaway is the Braves are the best team in baseball.
Didn't know that Stafford and Kershaw even knew each other. So you learn something new every day.
I've been working with him a little bit, so I need to take a little bit of credit for that.
Okay, yeah. All right. I'm surprised they didn't mention that on the broadcast. None of which were nationally broadcast, by the way. I don't count MLB Network fully as national network. Whenever it can get blacked out in parts of the country, I don't count that. For me, it's that there is a pretty large disparity between the starting rotations as of right now. That's the way I feel. Now, I know that the Braves threw their top 4 guys. The Dodgers did not. Clayton Kershaw did not pitch in this series, so maybe that'll change things a little bit. But I love where the Braves are with their rotation, certainly heading into the playoffs. Okay? I just feel comfortable. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm a little skeptical.
I think the Dodgers will have enough pitching. And I do think that, them getting beat by the Braves doesn't mean they can't win the World Series. I mean, they weren't they a better team than the Padres last year? Things happen in the postseason.
Yep. Real quickly, do you think this is the weekend that Acuna wrapped up the MVP or no?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's still more baseball to be played, so you can't put it past a guy like Mookie Betts to just go on an incredible tear as well. But I think as Mookie passed him before the series in the Vegas odds, Acuna got back on top.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And by the way, enough of the slander of the other guy. Oh, my guy's definitely the MVP because Mookie Betts got pinch hit for. And no. Mookie Betts had 2 multi-hit games in the series, and Ronald Acuna only got 1 hit here and there. I mean, sure, it left the yard, but let's stop. They're 2 great players. We might have one of the closer MVP votes in history. I'm in for that.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about LA's other team. Mike Trout, he's not playing right now. He's a little banged up. But Jeff Fletcher of the Orange County Register, who, of course, covers the Halos, did have a chance to talk to the future Hall of Famer about the future of the franchise. Of course, they went all in with the trades. Then they had a salary dump last week. Trout said, quote, there are going to be some conversations in the winter for sure, just to see the direction of everything and what the plan is. Then on whether or not Trout would request a trade, quote, I'm not even going to comment on that. Does anything that he said in those quotes perk your ears up?
I think Trout should have been doing this almost every offseason. Once you sign that massive deal and you're the face of the franchise, you're the guy. I mean, you should be involved in these conversations. I mean, especially a guy as well respected as Mike Trout. So I'm hoping this isn't the first time, but if it is, good for him. He needs to be involved going forward. He's there for still plenty of time. Now, about the requesting a trade, I mean, doesn't really work that way in baseball. I know other sports you can kind of hold out, and it's happened in basketball. The players have taken over in basketball. It's not that way in baseball. I mean, I don't think the Angels have any interest in trading him unless he went to them and said, hey, I think you guys should explore something. Then maybe the gears start to kick in and they start to think about it. But in my mind, man, this has all happened so fast. I can't imagine actually Mike Trout playing on another team. But now that you bring it up, and he didn't say anything about it, but I think a lot of people are talking about him saying, let me get out of here, replenish your farm system, do all these things for the franchise. Let me go get a chance to win. I think if they can't, here's the main thing I think. If they can't convince Mike that they have a real plan going forward, and I don't know how they are going to be able to convince him with that, but maybe they got some tricks up their sleeves. I think he might ask for it.
Okay, so to me, the biggest thing is that Jeff Fletcher said, are you going to request a trade? His answer was, I'm not even going to comment on that.
Yeah, but you have to you could say that and say, dude, don't even ask me that. I'm not even going to comment on that. That's different than, I'm not going to comment on that. It's the tone and the context. So I'm not sure what he meant by that.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. The tone does matter. But the easiest thing for him would have been, no, I'm not going to ask for a trade.
It's almost like I almost assume he said that like that's a clown question, bro. But maybe he didn't.
But maybe he didn't. Right. We don't know because it wasn't on camera, so we can't read the way that it was said. So you're right. Context matters here. In your delivery in it matters.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, if you're Mike Trout, what in the world could the Angels say to you that would make you convinced that they're on the right path? Nothing.
Yeah, honestly, probably nothing.
Nothing.
But it doesn't mean he's not happy there. You know, like you can be happy. Yeah, you can be happy in Anaheim playing for the Angels and then still have it in the back of your mind like, dude, I need to win. He sees everybody else in the playoffs, all these guys who he's better than, who he's been better than, getting to enjoy postseason baseball, getting all the accolades and rings and just so much that comes along with postseason baseball. And he's sitting on the freaking couch. He's going to Eagles games. Like there comes a point, I'm sure. It's probably already gotten there for him. It's like, dude, yeah, I would love to be on the TV in October. And if those thoughts start to really, really creep in and he doesn't see a path going forward, I mean, he can ask for a trade. I don't know if it's ever going to come to fruition, but it's got to be eating him up inside. It does. This whole the Shohei thing too, like Shohei leaving is going to cause a lot of thought and a lot of like soul searching, I think, for Mike.
I think it sucks for him. And if this offseason he goes into the office, I don't know whose office it's going to be because I don't know if the GM, the manager, and heck, I don't even know if the owner is going to be in place by the time next season rolls around. So I hope he does ask for a trade, to be honest with you. I'm sick of not seeing him play any meaningful baseball. Forget about October. When was the last time he swung a bat that counted in September?
Been a while.
Stinks. They haven't had a winning season since 2015. They're tied with the Royals, I believe, for the longest active drought without a winning season. And so unless they go on some ridiculous run over the last 25 games or so, they're going to keep adding to that losing record, and it sucks, and it's not fun, and it's bad for the sport. But you know what's good for you? Downloading the SeatGeek app onto your phone today. You're like, wait, SeatGeek, not familiar. Come on. If you have no idea what this is, they are the best ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. More than 28 million downloads has made SeatGeek the #1 rated ticketing app around. Did you know there are more than 70,000 events every single day available on SeatGeek? So that includes your sporting events, your clutch baseball games. College football started over the weekend. The NFL gets going this week. We're not too far from the NBA and the NHL season. On top of that, you got concerts, festivals, so much more. And they always want to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. That doesn't mean spending the most money necessarily. What they've got are green dots and red dots. Green means you are getting an awesome deal. So even if the seats are a little further back, what you're paying for them, that means we're looking out for you. Red means stop, right? Just like a traffic light. Slow your roll. Give it a second thought. The seats might look great, but I think they're jacking up the price a little bit for you. And on top of that, every ticket is backed by a buyer guarantee. SeatGeek's the only site out there that lets you return your tickets ahead of time with swaps for future dates. And we've got a hookup. Use the code TODAY for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. That is $20 off your first purchase, the promo code TODAY. So click the link in the description, download the app, off you go. We'll see you at a game in the near future. All right, Sunday Night Baseball. Interesting series. The Yankees sweep a 3-game set from the Houston Astros for the first time in a decade, and it was a lot of their young guns getting it done. The Martian, Jasson Dominguez, first big league at bat against future Hall of Famer Justin Verlander. Second pitch he sees, he leaves the yard. Then on Sunday Night Baseball, for the entire baseball globe to see, he leaves the yard as well. Now, is this something that the Yankees can truly build on, or are we just hyping them up because this is happening with the Yankees?
All right, we just talked to our resident Yankees expert, our producer, super producer Dan Rourke, and he's very ecstatic about the young guys, and I'm happy for Yankees fans that, to be honest, like this season's lost, but they're getting an extra dose of happy baseball because they got Austin Wells and they got Jasson Dominguez, and like they're letting the kids play, so they're looking to the future. I'm happy for them to get that. I need more time with these guys. You know me.
Well, hold on. Wait, you're saying you need more than a weekend series in order to judge the future of people?
I do. I'm happy for them, but I think we need to, pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see how this plays out over the, let's give them September. Let's see. Even though that's a small sample size, I want to, let me judge after the season how I feel about these two guys. Surely, I mean, Dominguez has a look to him. He's a big boy. He's going to hit homers in the show. I'm excited to see him in Yankee Stadium. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Seeing him in pinstripes for the first time is going to be sweet. And I think even though he's not the highest rated prospect, he's like been the name that we've heard about forever. And we've seen a lot of backfield, complex homers and all that stuff. So it's awesome to see him up and doing his thing. I mean, the homer on Verlander, second pitches, that's kind of like legendary stuff right there, to be honest. So it was fun, but I need more time with it. For the Yankees fans' sake, I hope these guys are awesome. Dan said, "We got our Astro killer." That's what he said. So I'm letting the people know what the Yankees fans thinks. I don't know, man. They look good.
Yeah, they looked great. They looked comfortable. Awesome. This is meaningless baseball that the Yankees are playing. And it's weird because that does
not to
happen.
Those guys.
It's meaningless from the standpoint of we don't care if we win or lose. Really, I mean, okay, yeah, they don't want to have a losing record for like the 30th straight season or whatever. So that's cool. But nothing that happens win-loss wise in September means anything for October. It just doesn't. So let's wait until that sort of stuff kicks in. I certainly understand why Yankees fans are excited. But yes, there's always, whenever the Yankees do something, there's too much gravitas one way or another. There's just too much, right? It gets built up or made to be too big or this, that, the other thing. Here's what I don't want to hear today, which I heard trickle out this weekend. God damn it. If we had done this 6 weeks ago, we would have been right in this thing. I don't know, man. Of course, we're not going to know. So is it possible? Sure. I would give it some percentage chance. I don't know if that's 4% or 6%. I wouldn't make it 74% that you guys. Well, if we had brought those guys up and if Aaron Judge hadn't, got it. That's where we are now, Yankee fans. We're running the if train. Listen, if you want to build around all these guys, right? Wells behind the plate, who didn't do anything at the dish, but apparently called very good games. If you read the quotes from Michael King, he was awesome back there. Great. I mean, that's what you need. I want a guy who can receive back there, and anything I get offensively is going to be a bonus. Dominguez, we've been waiting. He's 20 years old. Maybe he is the next Bryce Harper or Mike Trout. Maybe. Or maybe he's just a solid player. I don't know.
Aaron Judge has 31 homers through 83 games. Are you kidding me?
That I'll be willing to play the what if game on. If he had played 150 games this year, would he have threatened his American League record?
It's weird to see. I'm looking at games played for the Yankees. Stanton's at 85, Judge at 83. Like, they need those guys to play.
Yeah. I mean, the weird thing about Aaron Judge is he's had freaky injuries for the most part, right? He's had like one oblique injury, I think, in this time, but the rest have been strange, right? Getting hit on the wrist, toe goes into Dodger Stadium wall. Like, that's weird stuff. The Stanton stuff, you have to chalk him up for missing 40 games a year at this rate in his career. That's how it goes. Listen, I'm not telling the Yankee fans not to enjoy September. Enjoy it. Like, I'm happy you get to root for something, because if you were just trotting out the same schlock that you had been the first 5 months of the year, then it would really suck. At least this is something fun for you, and you can dare to dream. I'm not trying to crush your dreams. In fact, I'm sure you don't care. Like, good, enjoy it. But we'll see. If that's how you want to build your team, it'll be very interesting moving forward. Jeff Passan, our buddy from ESPN, the first to report that the pitch clock will remain in effect through the playoffs. Are you disappointed?
We talked a lot about this. I think players kind of wanted a little bit more leeway, maybe not necessarily just more time consistently, but another way to like kind of let the moment breathe a little bit. I understand why Major League Baseball is saying no. They don't want to go backwards at all. I think it's a little bit of a mistake by them, and I'm hoping they're talking to the umpires about like when to start the pitch clock.
Yes.
So I think that's something that they could do that wouldn't affect like the time. Like, you know, let's let these moments breathe. Let's, before you go like this and say, hey, let's get the clock going again. Like, let's understand the moment. But that's a lot to put on an umpire. So they probably won't do that either. I think it's going to be the same game, which, look, we all enjoy how the game has been. I do believe though that postseason is different than the regular season. Like the regular season, it's worked out great. We've had, when you watch baseball games, you don't feel like you're rushed. It feels like a good pace. There's just something different about postseason games, though, and especially Chris, when we get into the latter parts of the playoffs, and we're talking the CSs and the World Series. I feel like there are going to be times where I'm going to be yearning for a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if I feel that way. I might not. We might go through the entire postseason and not even really think about it, and I hope that's the case. But I in my mind, I feel like I'm going to be sitting there watching these games being like, dude, like, let's slow it down a little bit. And it's, to me, it's weird. I want to get the numbers on concession sales this year. That was something that we talked about at the beginning of the year. I know they extended the sale of beer because of the shortening of the games. But I want to know if sales were affected by it, because you really do. If you go to a place that doesn't have great lines, or you go to a packed game, like, you're going to miss an inning to go get a beer or a hot dog, right? That you're going to miss like almost a full inning, depending on where you're at. So I'm curious to see about that, but I hope we don't feel it in the postseason. I think that's my main takeaway, is we might.
Well, from the business side, I'll start with the concession stand, since that's the thing you finished last on. I think every ballpark, it's going to be next year, you download on your app and you order everything from your seat.
And then go pick it up.
No, I think they'll deliver it. I think they'll deliver it so that you don't miss anything.
I don't see that. I like where your head's at, but they don't want to pay more people to bring you down your food. I think what they'll do is
people.
You don't think so?
No, you're just taking people that were working some lines in concession stands and make them delivery people. Like, I still think there's a way to pay the same number of people. I think they're going to recalibrate it. Not everybody's going to get food delivered at their seat, but you're going to have the option. Everybody will have the option, is my guess. Number two, which was, I thought, your most important point, let's almost give a refresher course to the umpires. Get them all on a Zoom before the playoffs start, and let's make sure we're all on the same page with when we're starting stuff. It was a shit show in Cleveland this weekend between the Rays and the Guardians. There was a game where Kevin Cash was ejected because somebody was getting into the box for the Guardians, hadn't looked up. I think it was Jimenez, maybe. And they called a ball on the pitcher, but Jimenez hadn't addressed the pitcher by 8 seconds. And I don't know if it's because Jimenez thought that the clock hadn't started at a right time, or it was all a communication fuck up. And Kevin Cash was 100% right. Like, he came out and he's like, why are you calling a ball on my guy? Like, he was looking in, and Jimenez didn't have his head up. So let's just make sure everybody's on the same page, because God forbid, it's one thing if it happens in a series at the end of August or the beginning of September, which was important, but certainly isn't going to have the eyeballs on it that, the only
don't
game
even
on
bring that. Don't even bring that up, man. I can't.
Why? Because I'm trying to be proactive and make sure that we're not embarrassed in October.
Yeah, because we talked about that was one of the first things that people went to when we talked about pitch clock. Remember the first game ever with the pitch clock ended with the pitch clock ending the game? Do you remember that in spring training?
Yes.
And oh my gosh. And the first thing everyone thought was, if this happens in a World Series game, we're going to lose our mind. Now, that thought's out of our head right now. And now you're bringing it back. And now I'm getting upset because, oh, my gosh.
Hey.
It'll be on the players, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're used to it, and you gotta do it. But
I know, but let's just
if that happens, it'll be chaos.
Let's just make sure we have it as clean as possible. I am fearful, but yeah, what?
Rob Manfred has built up all this goodwill this year because attendance is games are shorter. If one stinking game in the playoffs gets decided by a pitch clock violation, he's going to lose all that. So, Bobby, you better be thinking about this.
We're in trouble. All right, quick one before we get out of here on this Labor Day holiday. Better visual from the weekend. Adolis Garcia had a 4-strikeout game working against the Twins and then finally hit not an extra inning homer, but a walk-off homer and gave us the celebration, looking up to the heavens and saying, God, I can't believe I finally made contact, and it went about 1,000,000 feet. Or Daniel Vogelbach trying to stretch a single into a double against one of his former teams, and the Farley-esque slide into second ended up a little bit short. What was the better visual for you?
I mean, with Vogie, like, that's not exactly stretching a single into a double. The ball was on the warning track, so that was just him getting thrown out on a double. Stretching is when you like take advantage of a lackadaisical outfielder. That was not it right there. And look at JP Crawford.
Crawford stare is hilarious.
He's like, I thought he'd be at second base 5 seconds ago. But no, the Adolis Garcia, even though it was against my Twins and it kept us 5 games ahead of the Guardians going into a massive series we didn't even mention on this show. I understand what that feels like when you feel like you can't even touch the ball. You strike out 4 times and you get up in that last at bat and you pump yourself up and you actually do it and you come through. The emotion there was pretty cool. And hey, man, we're getting pretty good at dramatizing.
Okay.
Is that a word?
Being dramatic.
Yeah. We're getting good at dramatizing the game is what I'm trying to say. I think that's
building
a word.
Up the drama. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and like, I thought it was cool, man. Like, people, like, think about 5 years ago, no one would have done that. Nobody would have done that.
Right.
And now we're like, dude, it's awesome to see the real emotion come out. So I think, for all like the stupid bat flips and stuff that we see, because there are some still, it's okay to admit that, people. Then you get stuff like this, and I think it makes it worth it.
The Vogelbach slide is hilarious. It just made me laugh. We were watching it live. Brady was like, that didn't just happen, did it? I was like, yeah, it did. I was like, if you ever want to know what your dad would look like in a major league uniform, there you go. Throw that bad boy on. Latest episode of the Rose Rotation is out with Miguel Rojas. He's great in a lot of areas. We found out that he played with Ronald Acuña's dad in Venezuela.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we started talking about Ronald Acuña and everything. He's like, I've known him forever. I played with his dad. I was like, what? So there's a really good story about that. Just some great stories, period. He's a really wonderful storyteller, and he's headed back to Miami for his first series as a non-Marlin on Tuesday. We talked a lot about that and what he expects from the crowd there, or doesn't expect. So make sure you check out the latest episode of the Rose Rotation. Appreciate everybody joining us on this Labor Day holiday. We are always there for you Monday through Friday. You can join us live on the AMP app. Just download it on your iPhone. You'll get a chance to chop it up with us after the show. Ask questions, give us your comments, your thoughts on how we see the baseball world. So make sure you do that every Monday through Friday. For our one-of-a-kind producer, our own Martian, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday on Baseball Today.